Switch 2 pre-orders are being cancelled from retailers. Are brick and mortar game stores a thing of the past? And we are finally going to find out more about the new 007 game that we've been waiting 5 years for. All of this in today's weekly roundup of the last few days in gaming. It seems that Switch 2 consoles are being pulled with, or I'm going to try that again. It seems that Switch 2 consoles are having their pre-orders pulled by retailers, certainly here in the UK, but potentially overseas as well. Certainly Game have been emailing their customers last week. Now, bear in mind, the console comes out at the end of this week saying that due to lack of stock, they just can't seem to fulfill the orders, which isn't really ideal when, these people who are putting in the pre-orders this late in the game, they're the ones that are invested. Saunders, over to you. Do you think this is like an isolated incident with specific retailers, or does this point to like a stocking issue on Nintendo's side that even though the Switch is one of the most popular consoles of all time, they just can't seem to get the demand right for this new console?
There's definitely something not right here, Ross. Obviously, I actually picked up this story first and sent it to you and says, you need to get something out of this today. And obviously stuck it a TikTok. And then we decided you'd either record this afternoon or we'd record tonight and do a bit of a deeper dive. When I first saw it, I did consider it was a game issue. Game being the brick and mortar game store, which we will touch on in the second story we have today. But then I started seeing just a few other retailers, people on Twitter, primarily saying I've just had mine cancelled from Argos and whatever else. So it's very, very concerning. We haven't been massively high on the Switch 2 as a release this year. A couple of things on TikTok, a couple of things on YouTube already saying like it just doesn't. As someone who was looking to buy it, it just didn't grab me as like buy it on release day. Is it as simple as the UK isn't the biggest market and they're protecting other markets, i.e.
potentially
are some of these finding their way to the States? Or, as you like to touch on in most of the videos, Ross, is it an indirect impact of recent political issues worldwide that may or may not affected it?
It's really, really hard to work out. For me, it's unacceptable to be cancelling them that late. Like, whoever's fault it is, be it a Nintendo issue, be it a retailer issue, you knew more than a week ago. Like, it is, for me, not great. Yeah, it could be a tariff thing, but come on now. People have got to be better.
There's history there, Ross. You and I can cast our minds back to 2013. You and I both lost our pre-orders for Xbox Ones through Blockbuster going bust.
Yeah, we did,
and in fairness to Microsoft, they bent over backwards. Every person who lost their pre-order through Blockbuster got a discount code to buy one direct from Microsoft. So they listed them, I think, at 10 grand, and you got a code to take off £9,500. That was the year where Microsoft did the pre-order releases in waves and said, right, here's the first wave of 10,000 consoles for this market, and once they're gone, there'll be a break, and then we'll say, right, we will have 20,000, 10,000. Sony went the opposite with the PS4 and just went, yeah, fuck it, just pre-order it and we'll figure out if we've got stock later. So it's not as if we haven't seen both ways of like, yeah, everybody can pre-order and we'll figure it out, versus no, look, the last time we want to do is cancel pre-orders. No matter what the reason is Nintendo have fundamentally got something wrong this year.
Yeah, it seems like it.
And it's their fault. They have to hold their hands up because the retailers will take the brunt of it. And it's not on the retailers. It can't be on the retailers. They're only going off either predicted stock or guaranteed stock.
Yeah, it does seem like that. It's a very similar situation to what you see with new sets of Pokemon as well. But comment down below if any of you guys had a pre-order with any of the retailers, either in the UK or overseas, been impacted by this, because I'd love to hear your stories, because honestly, my heart bleeds. If you're someone who was really up for it and then suddenly you get the rug pulled out from under you, I would be furious as well. So speaking of game and physical brick and mortar stores, Saunders, you'd been having a little mull over this recently, and should we be concerned for the state of any new to buy stores here in the UK?
The last bastion of my childhood high street, I fear, is now gone.
Yeah.
So for the last few weeks, I've been out and about on Saturday and Sunday mornings, pretending to be a good husband and taking my son out the road, letting my wife have a lie-in, but actually I'm just touring CEXs and gaming stores in the west of Scotland. A few weeks ago, I was in downtown in Irvine, a few months ago now, and Game shut up shop. Game being the major game retailer. It's now condensed itself into a sports direct in the same town. I was up in Livingston at the weekend, again, hitting around the shopping centre, closing down sale in the game store. Didn't go into Sports Direct, but I'm assuming once again, like all other Sports Directs, it now has a game section. The only two standalone game stores I know of, and for him that's listening, it's maybe no UK based. I'm not saying game as in generic game, it's the name of the brick and mortar stores called Game. The only two left are Argyle Street in Glasgow and East Kilbride. Argyle Street in Glasgow is 2 doors down from the biggest Sports Direct in Scotland. It's four floors. The one in East Kilbride is up the shop mile from Sports Direct. The Sports Direct already has a small game section. I just feel the writing's on the wall. Does it matter? Does it mean anything? The answer is yes, because when you're going into a Sports Direct with a game, you're primarily just dealing with people who work in retail.
Yeah.
People working at the checkout. That's it. That's fine. Not knocking that. They're selling games. The 2 brick and mortar game stores that are left, you're still dealing with gamers and people who have an interest in it. They're helpful. That might not matter to us as collectors and gamers, but it does when it's somebody's granny trying to buy their grandson the latest Call of Duty or whatever game it is and get it right. When I was in Argyle Street the other week, we were having a conversation about the Division and games like that, Battle Royale MMO type games. Nice conversation. They asked me to look for anything. I said, no, I'm just browsing. But one of the ones, helpful people, it's on its last legs. The biggest thing, and people should take note of this, if you go to the brick and mortar game stores that are still available, you will get some good gaming stuff and you will get some good gaming deals. So the camera that I'm using, the Razer Kyle X, was 30 quid and Game East Kilbride about 6-8 weeks ago. Same camera's 40 plus anywhere else that's selling it. If you go to a game in a Sports Direct, you're not getting Razer or Logitech or HyperX, couple Logitech and Razer mouses, but not getting peripherals or accessories in the same way. You're getting Trust Gaming stuff at a tenner, 15 quid. And I'm not saying it's not good. I'm using a 20 quid keyboard. I'm not an aiming player. It does a job. But your only choice is going to be Amazon. And it's sad to see. And we've just recorded the video that will come out next week on other retailers. I won't spoil it. But we're running out of places to buy stuff. And it's sad. I know it's childhood, but Mike Ashley's a dick and he's ruined the high street because he's just put everything into Sports Direct.
I can't really disagree with that. even down to, I have heard stories of the game employees don't even know how to do pre-orders anymore. Like, I've heard plenty of people who you go in, you ask to pre-order a game, they're like, I don't have no idea how to do that. You can't do that. Or you turn up on day of release and they have cases of, the good example was Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero that came out a few months back. I heard multiple people go into multiple game stores, walk up to buy one, and they're like, oh, we don't have any discs in. They just gave them empty boxes. Which is mad to me.
Is this the end of the midnight release? So again,
I think it is dead. To be fair, I think midnight releases are.
I was in Smiths and Clydebank at the weekend, and they did have some signs up saying they've done a half an hour midnight release for the Switch 2. A half-hour midnight release.
I mean, it's something.
That's not a midnight release.
It's something.
A midnight release is supposed to be turning up at 11 o'clock with 500 other idiots, snacks and talking crap and being first in line, and not a half an hour window to collect. If that's the case, just wait till the shop opens at 9 in the morning. I just
maybe
this just ties perfectly into the is console gaming dying, and I apologise as taking over the gaming news video. It just ties back into that. It's like everything about things being physical and the gaming world is dying. That's how it feels to me. And this is, I mean, game went to shit a good few years ago. COVID killed it off. They stopped taking in trade-ins. I understand why, but it's go into a Sports Direct, go into a small Sports Direct and go to the game section and try and feel inspired to spend money or buy something, or be like, oh, I really want to play that, or this would look really cool in my setup. And then try and ask the person behind the counter a question that a gamer would know the answer to, and you're not getting the answer you're looking for. Not their fault. The final point I'll make on this, Birmingham vlog that's coming out.
Mhm.
I went into the big house of Fraser. The lights weren't even on in the game section, and they were selling off old keyboards from the gaming arena beyond
Mhm.
with missing keys and missing whatever else. And I'm like,
That's not cool,
and
man.
I said to the guy, well, like, can I hack together 3 keyboards to get one? Because I thought it'd be a nice TikTok or a video for a tenner.
Mhm.
No, they're sold as seen. And I'm like, but they're fucked.
Yeah, who
But
wants that?
that's now what they're selling.
Yeah, that is a real
Games
shame.
game's dead. It's gone. Yes, you'll get in Sports Direct, and yes, you'll pick up big ticket items on day of release, day of drop. But it's a shame, but it's gone.
Yeah, it is a real shame. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news to everyone online, but sadly, it is a thing of the past, and maybe something can take its place. Maybe it can be resurrected, but I think CEX is the last one that's left, if we're honest. So, our third and final story for today, something a bit happier than the death of the high street. We are finally 5 years on from finding out that IO Interactive, the people who are behind the Hitman series, were working on a 007 game. It is apparently being unveiled soon. Sources thinking that this is going to be maybe a Summer Games Fest game. This might be this week, it might be next week. Hitman is going on hiatus. That is how much IO Interactive are invested in this. The creator is thinking that they're hopeful of a trilogy, which says to me that this game might be good. I've been looking forward to this for a while because Hitman's bloody good fun, even if I am terrible at stealth games. Saunders, I know you've been getting interested in Hitman. How do you feel, A, about Hitman going on hiatus? Does that give you a chance to actually catch up? But B, what's your thoughts on this game coming out and the reception it might have?
My thoughts are, if anybody knows where I can find a copy of the first Hitman from the sort of most recent trilogy, 2015 Steelbook, let me know. Because I'm trying to get it to complete the collection. I've got 2 and 3 sitting there. It's interesting. And the reason I find it interesting is it's a movie game, but it's not a movie game. And they've not replaced Daniel Craig as James Bond, as far as I'm aware. So my assumption would be is we'll get a generic 007 character. Like, we won't get an actor's likeness. Well, there'll be an actor's likeness, but it won't be a Hollywood actor's likeness to play the
The
part.
chat is it's going to be its own origin story that doesn't follow any of
Yep.
the other films.
It's probably not going to tie in with the movie
Mhm.
because if they've not picked a new James Bond yet, you're at least 28, 30 months away from that type of film being able to be released. And that's if they start filming it in the next few months.
Unless this is how they do it.
Unless this is how they announce it. I mean, that is a great way to do it.
I think
you
so.
know, that because not only does that then drive your interest in the film, but it drives interest in the game sky high.
Big time.
We could speculate who the new Bond would be. So I'm interested in it. I mean, I didn't know a lot about this game until recently. I'd like to revisit this story in a few weeks' time if I actually get off my arse and start playing some of the Hitman games. Let us know if you want to see me try and be stealthy in a live stream or in a let's play, because like Ross, I'm more of an all guns blazing type of
It's
gamer.
just easier. But I would also watch that.
Aye. I'm intrigued. I'm not sitting here saying I'm really excited about it, and I'm not sitting here saying I can't be asked about it. I'm intrigued would be the right word. Like, there's obviously something there that they would put a successful franchise like Hitman on a back burner. Maybe part of that reason is they can just time the next release for Hitman for the next gen.
Potentially.
But they must have something there. Are they being funded by the studio? Is there a movie tie-in that we don't know about yet that's going to be the surprise?
Is that
and that's
silhouette that kind of looks like Matt Smith? Is it actually Matt Smith? I suppose we'll find out.
I mean, if you're putting one of your most successful franchises on hiatus, you must be getting some serious funding.
It must A, look good, but B, they have hopes that it's going to not be a one and done type thing, which builds the intrigue, I think, just a little bit more.
You have to get non-gamers to play that, don't you? That's the bit that's missing. It's like non-gamers will play GTA 6.
Exactly.
Non-gamers would play Red Dead because you'll get the link to GTA. Would non-gamers play a Hitman base? It's not base, but look, essentially engine and style game related to James Bond. I'm not so sure. I don't know if Hitman's big enough for that.
It all depends really on how they package this presentation that we're going to see next week. It remains to be seen.
They have to package it with the release of who the next James Bond is, surely.
It's a really good way of doing it. It's a really good
I
way
only
of doing
thought
it.
until you said that, until we had this conversation, that didn't even cross my mind, and I'm like, that's just fucking genius.
Yeah, it'd be great. But I guess it remains to be seen. Hopefully, we don't have to wait longer than a week. Hopefully, they don't do some sort of, bait and switch and we don't find out next week, because I want to do a video on that next week as a bit of a Bond nerd. I'm all up for that. So
That's also really easy content without putting any thought into it next week. That's an easy video.
Oh, yeah.
Minimal editing.
Easy. But let us know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think this is all just going to be some generic character, or do you think this is going to be the start of something bigger? Let us know in the comments. Press like, press subscribe. It means a lot. And from all of us at TNF, happy gaming.